Hey dudes, I'm Hilah, and today on Hilah Cooking for Christmas Around the World, we're headed to Central America, Guatemala. I'm going to show you how to make Guatemalan tamales, and these are different from your typical Mexican tamales in that they're wrapped in banana leaves, and they're usually a lot larger than a Mexican tamale. And I really had a lot of fun figuring out how to make this, and I hope that you enjoy it, and big thanks to everyone who suggested Guatemalan tamales. Okay, the first thing we're going to make is the sauce that goes inside the tamales, or the recado, R-E-C-A-D-O, anyway. I'm going to start that by broiling some tomatoes and some red bell pepper. I just took the seeds out of these, and some whole garlic cloves still in the peel. I'm going to put these into the broiler for maybe like 10 minutes, give them a little twirl once in a while to get them really good and blackened. And while that's happening, we're going to go ahead and toast some seeds in this skillet. So I've got also a cinnamon stick. I've got a cinnamon stick, I've got sesame seeds, these are whole sesame seeds, and some raw pumpkin seeds, or pepitas. So you want to get these a little bit toasted. I've got it over kind of a medium-high heat, and just give that a few minutes. And this kind of reminds me of like a Mexican mole sauce where it's got all the nuts and seeds in it. But you end up with a nice, thick, and richly flavored salsa. It's really quite delicious. And then while that's happening, I've got some guajillo chilies here. This is what they look like. I guess a huaque chili would be more authentically Guatemalan, but I can't get those here. So this guajillo is a pretty good substitute, I read on the internet. So I've got 3 of those here, and I've just put them into some boiling water, kind of poke them down. Don't stick your finger in the boiling water. Just trying to reconstitute these a little bit. Okay, so after a couple of minutes, they'll start to get a little bit toasted, and then you want to really keep a close eye on them at that point, because once they start getting a little toasted, it's really easy to burn them. But I can smell the cinnamon getting a little toasty. I can see the smoke rising from the skillet. So, okay, I think we're actually good here. I'm gonna dump these into my blender container. So I have like a super high-powered blender. If you don't have something like this, and you don't have a blender that you think will actually grind up seeds and nuts and cinnamon, then you can just use a spice grinder to do this part, and then like a regular blender or a food processor to do the tomatoes and stuff later on. So then I'm just gonna pulse this a couple of times to get these ground up into a little powder. Okay, wow, yeah, so that's what it looks like now. You don't want to take it all the way to like nut butter, but that's good. And then we can put in our chilies, which are nice and soft. I'm gonna leave the seeds in, even though I think from what I read, it sounds like Guatemalan food is not quite as spicy as Mexican food is usually, but I like it spicy, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave most of that stuff in there. Okay, good. And let me check on my tomatoes real quick. Okay, so this is what we've got here. The peppers, I'm not gonna put in the sauce. I'm gonna set them aside over here in a bowl, cover it with a little plate, and we're just gonna let them steam, and then later on we'll peel the skins off. Get in there. Okay, and then I'm gonna start putting my tomatoes in. Be careful, because they're hot. Duh. And then the garlic, obviously, you want to peel the little husk, whatever you call that, the peel off, the papery crap. And then we're going to blend this up. Have a little bit of chicken stock or something ready. I'm actually just going to go ahead and put a little bit in to get it kind of going. And we just blend it till it's smooth. Oh, golly. Need to add some salt. Needs to be very well seasoned. And some achiote or annatto seed. Next we need to strain the sauce to make sure that you don't end up with any like lumps of cinnamon sticks and stuff like that. And it'll take a while. So just do this until you have a very smooth sauce left in your pot. Okay, so about 90 hours later, you'll have kind of a little thick paste left here. And make sure you get all this goodness off the bottom of your sieve. Now I have this in a really deep pot because it will kind of like splatter and pop, and I don't want your pretty faces to get burned. So now I'm gonna add a spoonful of lard and about a pound of fairly lean pork that I've just cut into strips. You could also do this with chicken. And I saw a lot of recipes where you just put the raw pork in later, and it totally worked. I tried it that way, but I don't know, I kind of like this method better. And now I'm actually just gonna move this to my back burner and get all that pork down there in the sauce. I'm just gonna put a lid on this kind of partially just to keep it from splattering everywhere, and let that simmer for about 20 minutes while I make the masa. For that, I've got some masa harina, which if you have fresh masa, you can also use that. And I'm going to mix it into this giant pot with some broth. A whisk helps a little bit to get this masa in there without a bunch of lumps. So I like to use about 3 cups of dry masa to about 6 cups of water. But I saw recipes that used a much thinner masa and ones that used a much thicker masa, so I guess it's sort of a matter of preference. And quite a bit of salt. That'll depend a little bit on your broth, how salty that is. So once you've got a smooth, lump-free masa porridge kind of thing here, we can put it on the heat, kind of a medium heat, and if you have a comically large spoon, this is the great time to use it. So you just want to stir it constantly, kind of scraping the bottom to make sure that your masa doesn't stick. So it's nice and thick. I'm gonna add a bunch of more lard and stir that around until it melts. This is a really good upper body workout, guys. Okay, good. So once it's smooth and thick and there's no lumps, looking good, and turn it off, set it aside, and start working on our banana leaf wrappers. If you can't find banana leaves, you can find them fresh in some places, frozen also, maybe look there if you have like a Latin market. But I have some fresh ones here, so I'll show you what they look like. They come in like a big sack, like a 5-pound sack, and they're enormous. Look, it's like almost as tall as me. Not really, but it's pretty damn tall. So you want pieces about like this size for rolling your tamales, and you want to make sure that you cut off this stiff rib in the middle. So just with like some kitchen scissors or something, just get rid of that because that's gonna mess you up when you go to roll. And if you can't find these, you can use sheets of aluminum foil or sheets of parchment paper to roll up your tamales. I'm gonna make one stack that's like pretty ones that are for rolling, and then I'll have another stack of like the messed up little pieces, like the ends and stuff. And this is what we'll use to like layer in the bottom and the top of our steaming contraption. Okay, so I've got all my leaves cut to about the same size, and I've got a huge pot of water. So we're just gonna blanch these leaves. That's gonna get them soft enough to use, I guess. If you're using frozen ones, I think they're already blanched before they're frozen, so you could just thaw them out. Maybe just about a minute or so. And then carefully lift it out and set it on another thing. So I'm just gonna blanch all of these like that, and then we'll come back and finally show you how to assemble the tamales. Yay, we're almost there. We almost made it, guys. Okay, we're ready to roll, finally. So you got your blanched banana leaves. You wanna set it so that the more ridged side is up. If you run your finger along it, you can feel it's like a little accordion or like a xylophone or something. So you wanna put a hefty amount of your masa down, and then chunk of meat, and use a little ladle to get lots of sauce in the middle there, kind of push it down. And then you can add whatever other kinds of like garnishes you want. Some red bell pepper. This is the bell pepper that we roasted earlier, and then I peeled the skin off of it. Some capers, some raisins. I know this sounds like kind of a weird combination of things, but it's like salty and sweet and spicy and meaty all at once. And some sliced olives. And now I like to try my best to just roll it in the banana leaf, but a lot of times it breaks and you end up using some foil. Kind of give it a little shake like that to get it down. Fold this in, fold this in, and then whichever side feels more comfortable to you, kind of pinch it with your fingers here, like wherever you feel the masa, you should be able to feel it kind of warm, the end of the warmness, the warmth. Fold it under, and then give it a little shake to kind of tamp that down. Fold this side under, and there we go. This one didn't tear. I'm kind of amazed. That was my first try on camera. So there we go. We have our little tamale packet. If it makes you feel more secure, you can wrap a little piece of string around it or wrap it up in some foil. But I'm going to take my chances and set this one aside and continue rolling tamales. Once you've got all your tamales rolled, get your same big ass pot, and we're going to use all those little like bad pieces, those bad banana pieces, to make a little sort of bed in the bottom of our pot. And if you didn't have these, you could just use like a steamer basket or something, just something to keep the tamales out of the water. And also the banana leaves really do impart a nice like fresh floral grassy kind of thing to the tamales. So if you can find them, it's good. And then I'm going to add about 4 cups of water. And you can see I did end up using some foil on some of them, like as I was wrapping them, if the leaves broke and it seemed like the masa was going to splooge out while they were cooking, then just wrap it up in some foil. Same way. And I like to put the foil ones on the bottom, just since they already have like an extra layer of protection against the water. They can be a little closer to the water down there. They're all in. We'll cover it with another layer of banana leaves and put the lid on it and put it over heat and just let it steam for about an hour and a half. If you were making these with raw meat inside them, you'd need to cook them more like 2 hours. But yeah, so just keep an eye on it. Make sure that steam is always coming outside around the lid. If it's not, then you probably need to add some more water and then just carefully pour it around the outside edges so you're not dumping it right onto the tamales. But yeah, okay, so I'll see you guys back in an hour and a half and we'll eat some tamales, tamale party, fiesta de tamales. Okay, I'll stop. Okay, so I cooked them for 90 minutes and then just let them sit here in the pot off the heat for about 20 minutes just to cool off a little bit so that they're not like so burning hot. Look at this. Beautiful. All right, let's unwrap it. They're not much to look at, I'm telling you now, but they are tasty. All right, well, I hope you really, really enjoy this recipe. It was so much fun to try this new type of tamale that I had never made before, and I hope that you guys like the way I made them. So check out HilahCooking.com for the printable recipe as well as some other Guatemalan Christmas recipes. And also, if you're looking for a Christmas gift for your loved ones, remember that I have some cookbooks that you can purchase for people. So I'll also put a link to that. And thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great, wonderful December. And let's see what's happening here. Kind of looks like a little abstract art thing. A little circular olive, a little stripe. It's like a one-eyed smile, man. Oh my gosh. Some of this sauce and a raisin. Mmm. Oh man, that sauce is so good. Holy cow. Wow. Yay! All right, well there you go. There's how to make Guatemalan tamales. And I will see you guys later.